lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio.
And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
There's hope in the Lord. For it says in the Bible, in Romans chapter 8, verse 18, for I consider that the suffering of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us. We don't have anything to worry about. We don't have anything to worry about because Jesus is our true hope. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
One day all the pain will cease. One day, one day, one day. One day will be all in peace. One day, one day, one day. One day there'll be no more tears. One day, one day, one day. One day we'll see King Jesus. One day, one day, one day.
This dark world we living in is so evil. Terrorist attack claiming the lives of innocent people. Mass shooting taking places all over the land. The war still going on between the black and white man. Black lives matter, but the killing haven't stopped. Lives even being taken by the hands of the cop. After all the protesting, ain't too much change. So much pain and suffering, it's hard to stay safe. It's not even safe in your own front yard. The only safe place is the hands of God. No time to fall asleep. You have to stay alert because the enemy even laying out rounds in the church.
One day all the pain will cease. One day, one day, one day. One day will be all in peace. One day, one day, one day. One day there'll be no more tears. One day, one day, one day. One day we'll see King Jesus. One day, one day, one day.
Christianity is under attack. Look at the news, the persecution rate is high, but we can't be moved. No need to fear because ISIS can't destroy our faith. When it's suffering over, we gon' see our Savior face. This world not a home, we headed to a greater place. It will be no more crying on that grave day. It get hard, I know, but stay in the race. When we make it through them gates, we gon' celebrate. In this present world, say the streets are cold, but one day we gon' walk the streets of gold. Shortly, all the pain and suffering will be over. Until that day, we gotta do it like a good soldier.
One day all the pain will cease. One day, one day, one day. One day will be all in peace. One day, one day, one day. One day there'll be no more tears. One day, one day, one day. One day we'll see King Jesus. One day, one day,
Our
one
country's
day.
overwhelmed without a racial attention. It's obvious that the love of God is truly missing. I thought we all supposed to be united together. All races need to change their ways like the weather. The hate is so strong, you can feel it in the air. No justice in the system, I wonder do they care? It shouldn't be a burden to treat one another fair. To find strong leaders nowadays is very rare. Who willing to take a stand? Humanity is crying out. We need strong leaders from the church to the White House. Corrupt politicians in the office and the people lives. Father, help us. It's a mess before our eyes.
One day all the pain will cease. One day, one day, one day. One day will be all in peace. One day, one day, one day. One day there'll be no more tears. One day, one day, one day. One day we'll see King Jesus. One day, one day, one day.
Welcome to the call. This is Charles's Corner. This is your favorite entrepreneur, Charles McCutcheon. Well, today I want to thank everybody for getting on, and I don't like to waste any time because the time is precious, and I value your time getting on this call. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up a lady who I have a ton of respect for. She is out here doing big things in the business world, in the grant world, and I really want to touch on grants because we as a people do not go out and get grants like we should. Everybody's out there maybe trying to, everybody has a handout to get their business where they need to get it, but, grants can help out. So what I'm going to do, I have none other than Mrs. Chioma Adaku. Miss, are you on the phone?
I'm here live with Charles McCutcheon. Let's get it in.
I love it. I'm diving right in. I'm just going to ask you some questions, and these are questions people have given me, and it's going to be some general background because we need to know who you are, and then we're going to dive into some meat and figure out the business and the grant side. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
So let's start with this. Who are you as far as your background? Where are you coming from? Talk to us.
Okay, my name's Chioma Adaku. I'm a Tennessee native, and I am in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia by way of the Navy. My husband was in the service for 10 years, and so we decided to make Virginia our home. So we're here now with a family of two. I have an MBA. I am also a PhD candidate where my dissertation is in review phase, so I'm working on that in metaphysics. I am a business broker, so I help people buy, sell, and franchise their business. I have over 20 years plus of nonprofit management and development. So I bring with you my humble experience of writing over and receiving well over $1 million in grants. So hopefully I can provide some information for you today that can help you in your nonprofit businesses as well as your for-profit business.
Love it. Let me ask another question, and this is talking about grant topics. What are people not aware of that they should be aware of when discussing grants?
The most thing that people are not aware of is you cannot get grants for individual efforts. There's always these commercials that come on late at night or just you see them on TV or you may even hear about them from your friends. But you cannot get grants for individual efforts. Everything you do with a grant must be done as a company, corporation, or some type of team effort. And so that's the biggest myth that's out there. So you're wasting your money, your time, and your efforts and energy buying these books to say get grants for individual projects.
Got it. Okay. And so, and you say individual projects. When doing grants, I see a lot of people, even myself, when I started trying to learn how to do grants, what would you advise people to do just coming out the gate trying to get grants?
Coming out the gate getting grants, I think you need to realize that what is grant writing? And grant writing is a storytelling process. It's a matter of answering the application in its completion. It's a matter of matching a budget to what you're asking for, and it's a matter of having relationships and knowledge about the funding organization or funding entity. A lot of people submit grants to organizations or entities that don't even apply to their mission. For example, you don't submit a grant to Ford Foundation for possibly the delivery of water bottles unless it's in a destitute area. You have to look at the mission and the things that they're funding. A lot of people don't even read what the funding entities are funding. So before you write a grant, know what it is, know what the entity is funding, know who's on that board of directors, and know how to get involved and create those networking circles to be able to give you leverage when you submit that application. Most grants all grants have reviewing panels by everyday individuals. Everyday individuals are on these panels, and so when you tell your story in a grant, it has to be in such simplistic terms that a third grader could understand. So please know that when you're doing grants, it's not just about submitting an application. It's about understanding the process, understanding the people that are involved, and most of all, networking with people so that whatever entity or organization that you're submitting that grant to, you can have some leverage. You know, if there's someone you know on the funding, on the grant panel committee, they can be the one that actually, give you the leverage you need to get it, through the system out of the thousands and thousands of applications that may be submitted.
I understand. Let me ask you this. When you started out, how much time did you spend actually learning how to do grants?
When I started out just not being a grant writer per se as a professional. I started out as a contract administrator. I worked at Department of Energy doing contracts and proposals for the different subcontractors that was coming through. And so I didn't initially start with the intentions of being a grant writer. And so with the shift of NAFTA and when they started laying off all the jobs, that slid me into doing grant writing. So I would say when you start out, you definitely need to be able to take a simple class or get some consulting from someone who's already done it so they can really give you the insight of the process, because it's not just a matter of turning in a grant application. There's a whole process that goes behind it. And throughout the call, Charles will give us some good questions, and hopefully I'll give you some insight on how to make that happen. But in terms of starting the process, what you first initially need to do is possibly take you a class or connect with someone who's already writing grants or have done grants.
Okay. So should they, and I'm looking at it from my standpoint as well, being that I have a nonprofit, looking at a grant writing team to where you're a part of the team versus just trying it on your own.
Right. You can develop a team, but most nonprofits, especially when they start out small, they don't have that luxury. And that's one of the things that we need to do as organizations. We need to ensure that when you're hiring positions or you getting people to volunteer, get a development director. A development director's sole responsibility is to write grants. And so if you don't have the luxury to create the team, you have to have the luxury to have that position within your organization. And so when you do the grant, it is best that you get someone, if you do have a voluntary team, kind of break the grant off into pieces, have someone to do the program description, have someone to get the budget together, have someone to look at, the whole identity of what you're trying to fund to match those pieces, because that's what's going to bring the grant to its completion.
Okay. How many grants would you say to have out there at one time?
There's not a specific number, only because realistically speaking, to write a good grant, it could take you anywhere from 30 to 45 days, depending on what it is. And what people need to remember also is the same amount of effort that someone spends to write a grant for $500 is the same amount of energy you're going to take to write one for $500,000. So when you do that first grant, you're going to have the same components to however many other grants you can kick out. It's just going to have different questions, because depending on the type of grant that you write, your foundation is going to be the same, but the questions are going to be different. So you can have anywhere from 10 to 15, 20 grants out at one time. But realistically speaking, for one person, if it is one person, now if it's a team, you have as many as you can get out. Because like I said, your foundation is going to be the same. The questions are going to be different.
Do you think it's easier for a for-profit or a nonprofit to get a grant, and why?
I think it's easier for a nonprofit because with a nonprofit, people see that as charity work. They see that as a way to give back. They see that as a way to be able to involve the community. Now, for-profits also get grants, and I think that's a big misconception that's out there. There's grants that you have to pay back, and then there's grants that's available through Small Business Administration, through your Small Business Development Center that's over in Hampton Roads is over at the Thomas Nelson area, but Thomas Nelson Community College. But it just depends on, where you're getting your grant from will determine how it's going to be, given out to the public in terms of the type it is. I'm on the interstate trying to get to another place. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No big deal. We all got information, got places to be. No big deal. So when I'm looking at the grant process, let's take all the knowledge you have right now and throw it out the window. Starting fresh, looking for a grant,
Okay.
what would you do?
Okay, starting fresh, I would actually, honestly, I would get my program description, whatever it is that I'm seeking a grant for, I would have to get that tight and make sure it matches with the budget. Because people ask for $100,000 to be able to move something from A to Z. It doesn't take $100,000 to get that. So you need to make sure whatever that you're trying to get a grant for, the first thing I would consider is, you know, who the source is that the mission that they're actually funding? Does my grant match my budget? And do I know anybody on the funding entity that would be able to help me gain leverage with that grant?
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up because somebody hit me up because, you know, I'm doing the certification piece to this nonprofit. So this is what was brought to my attention. So you have a company out there that has funding. Let's say, just throwing numbers, $500,000. They want to give it to your nonprofit organization. You said some steps need to be done before you receive that funding.
That's correct. There's a lot of things that need to be done. You really need to have pieces in place. I mean, and that's the big misconception. You know, a lot of people don't know that grant writing, the grant process is a political process. Political process means you got to know somebody that knows somebody, and that's not to defer people away from applying for funding and saying, you know, it's not open for everybody, but the process, you have to know the process, and you have to be able to know people who are in that process in order to gain you the leverage that you're going to need to get that grant. I've been in situations where I have written grants and received the grant just based off of the person that's our executive director. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, and I received the grant just based off of the person who was over the organization. They didn't even read through the grant. And then I received grants that has been returned because I didn't have a relationship and didn't know anybody in the process. So it's very important that people know and understand. It's like everything else. You definitely have to know. I don't care what anybody tells you. You have to know somebody. And then you also have to know and understand that not all grants are 100% funded. So the average rate around here in Hampton Roads and most other places too, to write a grant is $2,500. Well, you're going to pay somebody $2,500 and depend on what type of relationship they have, who they know, and if they truly understand that process, they may not get that grant. They may not get that grant. So that's one of the things that people really need to know about as well. Grant writing is a process, and it has to be understood, not only understood from the level of writing it and what it takes to write a grant, but also knowing the people that's involved, as I mentioned before, knowing the funding entity and who those people are, and so on and so forth.
So from your perspective, from the grants that you saw that were declined or rejected, what are some general things that you saw out there of why?
Okay, so the first thing was I didn't have a relationship with the funding entity. That's why one of the grants was denied. The second thing was I was working in an organization that it was a grant renewal, and they had a stained reputation. They had a stained reputation in the community, and I didn't know that. And so I went ahead and submitted. It was a renewal, which meant they had already been funded before, so it was a matter of just resubmitting it with new numbers and ensuring that everything else.
You dropped off. I'm going to see if she comes back. I may have to. I'm going to go into the nonprofit piece because that's where I see a lot of companies that are nonprofits or a lot of people out there that are doing you're out there doing the work, but you're not a nonprofit. And so a lot of us we're having events to where we put money back into the company, and a lot of people are coming out of pocket to pay for these events when they should be using their nonprofit, not even just for the grant, but there are other forms of pieces of paper that you can submit to these companies to where they can give your company, give you a quick example, Sam's Club. You can take your paperwork in there showing that you are a tax-exempt company, and when you take it up in there, they can actually give you food to cater to whatever event that you're doing. You can get flights. You can get hotel stays, and all this is free depending on your type of nonprofit and what your entity is doing, what you're doing in the community. So what I see is I see a lot of people doing nonprofits and a lot of people trying to do it themselves, and some people actually fall off and they submit it. And what happens is the IRS is going to take your information and they're going to look at it and kind of separate it into two piles. And the two piles are people who are certified that have, in a sense, a stamp of approval on their nonprofit application, and then the other side is the people who are not certified. So the IRS has to take a lot more time to look through your application if you're not certified. And this is what can happen. I'm not saying it happens all the time because the IRS will email you. They will get in touch with you to say, hey, let's fix your information and get it right. And so if you don't have it right, they can actually submit your stuff and give it back to you after about 6 months has been wasted, in a sense. That's what it comes down to. And they don't have to tell you why it's wrong. They can give it back to you and just know that, okay, your information is wrong, so you got to fix it. And it's wrong because a lot of people, what we do is we start out LLCs first. That's what happens. And once you do an LLC, a lot of people think they can turn that LLC into a nonprofit. You can't do that. What the IRS is looking for is not an LLC. They want you to have a bigger company. So LLCs getting formed through the nonprofit organization is more of a bigger company. So I say let's form an INC, an Inc. We're going to form an Inc. and then submit your paperwork. So that's one reason. I just did a lady's and fixed her paperwork, and because hers was messed up, she put out an LLC, and then the other time she didn't do the bylaws correctly. Then the other time, crazy. The other time was a conflict of interest statement were not correctly done. So it's certain verbiage that needs to be on your LLC that if you don't have it on your LLC, it's not going to work for you. Not going to work. So with me, we brought up the grant, and I hear Ms. Shioma. She just texted me and said, hey, can you get me back on? I'm going to see if I can get her back on, but I'm just going to keep going because this is what we do. No big deal. So with the nonprofit and grants work hand in hand, and then once you get the nonprofit, there are other government entities, state entities, local entities that can provide funding. And one of those sources of funds is your Chamber of Commerce. I just got hooked up with the Chamber of Commerce last year. I didn't know, and you need to go to yours. There's a couple different types of Chamber of Commerce. It doesn't matter to me which one you go to. But I'm just going to break it down and just put the real words out there. This is what's happening. You have all these companies, you have all these people that have funding, family. There's no shortage of money. So what my mentor does is, he has a couple of nonprofits. He goes out. September is a big time for him because he goes out to these companies and says, hey, I need y'all to, fund my companies, my construction or what have you. So these companies can have millions of dollars. So what they do, they put it into a nonprofit organization. That's taxes, in a sense, to lower how much money the IRS sees them as making. And that's just what it is. It's a tax write-off for a lot of people. So if you have people that's at the chamber, all these different companies, I'm not going to name them, but all these different companies are there, everybody needs tax write-offs. I don't care who you are. Big companies, individual people. So if you have a nonprofit out there and you've been working in the community, my thing is, I'm giving you everything that I know, is to take a lot of pictures, and you have to be in business about 2 years. That's like the standard. That's like the average. And one of these grants out here, it's over $1 million for you to get, but you have to be in business 2 years. So that's what I'm telling people, hey, start it now. So by the time you get up and running real good, you can get the grants that's over $1 million. If you want to build something with that money, by all means, go ahead. You just have to have your documentation in order. So it's few things that you need to do out there as far as grants and everything like that. And I'm going to bring Miss Chioma back on. Y'all sit tight for 1 second. Let me see if I can get her on. I may or may not be able to get her on, but, it's worth a try. Why not? She's doing big things out there, and hopefully she'll be able to give her information. I'm going to tell her to call in into the number right now. Hopefully she'll be able to give her information because she works businesses as well, shows people how to get the business and everything like that. So that's, she just does good business. So I work with a lot of people who are just doing, good business. That's all we're looking for. And this right here, this series, I call it Charles's Corner. What we're doing is we're coming together and we're bringing the experts on the line. That's the best thing you can do. You bring the experts on the line and you get everybody to partake in it. And, I've had the lawyers on. I have an accountant that's going to be coming on. So this is happening every Monday. Let me let this other lady know. Wait 1 second, family. There we go. Bam. It may work and it may not. She may get on. Okay, you're on the call, Miss Chioma. Maybe we're going to try to get you logged back in here in a second. I was already talking about nonprofits and the way to go to get that thing started. I know we need articles of incorporation. These are just different things that you need to be a part of, actually get your nonprofit started. So I've been helping a lot of people do that as well. And the other piece of the puzzle that's out there is government funding. Now, you can do government funding with your nonprofit. You can do it without your nonprofit. My thing is we have a lot of ways to acquire funds for our businesses, but a lot of people don't know that they're out there. I mean, other companies and other people are using it, so we need to actually get out there and use these things like business credit. A lot of people's businesses don't even use it, but it's out there, and you have all these other companies using it, so why are we not using business credit? To me, business credit is free money. It's free money we have access to. We haven't put the time, the work in, but we're struggling, and most of our businesses are failing, and that's only because we just don't know. So let me see if Miss Kim, I know you're on the line. Can you bring in Miss Chioma? She's on the line. She's at that 757 number, and we're going to tie in the grants to nonprofits to get this funding. Let me see if we can get her in. I hear
Hello?
you loud and clear. Go right ahead. I know you've been listening.
Yes, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. So I'm sorry y'all lost the call, but thanks, Charles, for the opportunity to be able to dispel some of the myths and stuff that's out there about grants, because there are just so many opportunities for people to be able to get funding. And the thing that you have to do is just try to do it or find the people that's doing it and be real careful about that, because like I said, it's a process. And not everybody knows the process. Not everybody has a relationship. And it's just like anything else. I mean, everybody can write a book, but everybody don't know the process to be able to get it to #1 bestseller. So with grants, you have to have 3 things in place: relationship, understanding if the mission statement is correct, and understanding exactly what you're asking for and that it meets the budget. We'll go ahead with your questions, Charles, so I'll make sure I stay in sync with what you're doing.
Okay. The question I would have is, somebody just now got their 501c3 certification. Where do the grants come in at?
So the grants come in when you actually start doing the research. One of the ancient Chinese secrets that I always tell people in my grant writing class is don't reinvent the wheel, because everything has already been done. The work that you're doing has already been done. So if you go back and actually research the 990 forms of organization. So let's say ABC KinderCare, for some reason they've turned to a nonprofit. You do 990, the symbol plus ABC KinderCare. Every organization, nonprofit that's their tax information they have to submit. And they have the places where they get their funding from on that tax information. They also have like the board and a whole bunch of other things. But that's the first place I would start. I would start looking at the 990 forms of previous organizations. Every library has a grant section that you can actually go into and look that stuff up for free. There's no charge for that. Your Chamber of Commerce, as he mentioned before, your small business development centers, Hampton Roads is full of them. And so since we're in Hampton Roads, everybody that's on this call, you'll have to check out your areas where you are. But also SCORE. SCORE helps you with your business plans, but they also can help you do your sustainability plan for your grants and stuff like that. And I would recommend that people get out and start, tearing down the pavements to get to some of these places because the money is out there. Your local government, they have funding available. There's all types of funding available through your local government. So you need to make that link with the different organizations out there and create collaborations. That's a big, huge thing. Funders are looking for collaborations. They don't necessarily want to fund one organization to do the whole thing. So in essence, in the work that I do with another nonprofit, Traffic Stops is a human trafficking organization, there was a $1.45 million grant that came through Hampton Roads, and that was split up among the different organizations, but it made it stronger when they applied for the grant to show the collaboration because everybody had an opportunity to be, if they were in that collaboration, to be able to receive some of that funding. So I would say look at collaborating with people, look at your 990 form, and also go to your library because they do have that free kind of like a grant section. Most of them have the grant section. They don't call it the Center for Nonprofit Management here, but most of them have those sections where you can go over and find that information for free.
Love it, love it, love it. I'm glad all this is being recorded. Oh, my goodness. Now, let me ask you from my perspective. I'm a businessman. I am busy. I'm busy. I can promise you I don't want to write any grant. I don't want to do a proposal. I don't even want to learn. So, from that perspective, because we have some busy folks out there doing whatever they're going to do, what would you recommend for them?
I would recommend that you go to your local college or university and get you an intern student. That's what I would recommend because most of them are in the social work department, but they have intern students who are, they need that as a part of their grade. And so writing is already a strength of a college student. I would hire a consultant, get someone who's already doing the work. That'll save you a lot of time, effort, and energy. Because people don't understand the grant writing process is not only a process by where you have to know and understand the different areas, but it's also very, very time consuming because you have to gather a lot of documentation in order to be able to send that one particular grant out, and you put the same energy, as I mentioned before, into a $500 grant as you would a $5 million grant.
Okay. Now, when we're looking at these different grants that's out there and the funding, I'm going to slide over to nonprofits. I didn't know this, but I'm just going to ask it in a question. Can you, as a founder of a nonprofit, CEO, president, whatever you want to call yourself, can you be paid financially to run your nonprofit?
As an executive director, yes, you can. You would run that organization as an executive director, not on the actual board. And with your board of directors, as you know, you have an executive committee, and then you have your different committees involved. But you would not have the leverage of voting on the board, but you can serve as the executive director and get paid. And can I please mention to you, Charles, there are some people who is looking at doing some internships at Bryant and Stratton. So any of your callers, there's a Jessica Smith at Bryant and Stratton who is begging to partner interns with local businesses. So there you have, on the Charles McCutcheon Show, a free resource to help you get up and going.
Love it, love it, love it. Now, as far as grants, can you tie in, and I know this is kind of like we're going to start summing this stuff up. Can you just give me a quick summary on grants, and then after that, I'm going to ask for a quick summary on nonprofits, and then merge the two together.
Okay, so quick summary for grants. You have to develop business relationships and partnerships with people in your community. Collaboration is the key. There are no longer sole projects. When I say sole projects, if you are the only, let's say, domestic violence group in town, there's a difference because you pretty much usurping all the money anyway. But since you're not, you need to collaborate with other organizations. You need to develop relationships. You need to understand the funder and the entity to know if your mission actually matches with their mission. You need to be able to match the grant with the budget, your project, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it needs to match your budget. And so how would you like to tie it into the nonprofit? In what way? Can you be more specific for me, please?
Well, I see a lot of people with nonprofits, but they're doing bake-offs, they're doing events to try to get, sell T-shirts. From that perspective, there's another avenue of money out there we haven't touched.
Right. So the key thing that nonprofit organizations need to do first and foremost, if they're not in a position to hire a development director, which I'm saying that should be like just as important as hiring your executive director, you need to be able to create a fundraising plan. And in your fundraising plan, that would include your grants and grant sources and what you're able to get. And so that needs to happen first and foremost, and before you can actually do anything else. And also, like I said before, look at your 990 of other organizations and see how they have done things in terms of their funders, and that will help you out a lot in terms of knowing how to kind of link those two together for yourself.
Now, I would be remiss if I did not have you, and this is what I don't want you to do, Ms. Chioma. I don't want you to sugarcoat this thing because I know what you do. And I'm talking about what you do, not just the business side of things and the nonprofits and the grants. Can you give the people that are listening right now, can you give them what you do? I'm talking in total. Give it to me. I need to hear it.
Okay.
I need to know.
So in total, I help people buy, sell, and franchise their businesses. I help empower people, and I do that through my nonprofit organization, which is called Traffic Stops. It's a human trafficking organization. I also help people with nonprofit management and development on a referral basis. McClutchin. So what does that mean? That we help people in our own way, in their way, to develop their nonprofit in a savvy way where it is legal, where it's binding, and where it helps you maintain a great reputation in the community, because you don't want to be one of these people getting money and misusing it and abuse it. We help you to sustain your organization by coming up with a development plan, a fundraising plan, a sustainability plan.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, can you give them, if somebody wants to reach out to you, is there a way they can contact you? I know you're busy. We all are. But, email may be the best if you want to, give out your information, because people may want to reach out.
Yes. Well, you can reach me through the Charles McClutchin team. Whatever address he has, that's how you can reach me through the Charles McClutchin team. I do have an email is ADAKUMENT. That's a document at gmail.com. But best reach me through the Charles McClutchin team, because that's where you know it's going to be certified and you're going to get it done.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And let me give you this one for parting words, anything that you want to leave the people with.
Yes, you can do all things but fail, but the journey of 1,000 miles, it has to start with one step. So if you're going to do it right, do it in a legit way, do it in a prospective way where you will maintain your integrity. And you just do it right, people. Do what you need to do, and what you can't do, hire professionals to do it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to thank you for your time, for your efforts, for everything that you gave, because I learned something. I know a lot of people have, and I'm definitely going to have to get you back on here later on. I'm bringing the heat on these calls. We're bringing it. So thank you.
Well, I'm with you. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. Everybody, Charles is going to give out his information where you can get in touch with him so we can stay in sync, because we work as a team here in 757, and we will do all we can to help you, but you got to help yourself first.
Love it. Thank you, my main woman. My woman. Get it. Okay, y'all.
Sir.
This is what I'm doing. Every Monday, we're bringing on the professionals to give this insight and information. And I say get on at 6 p.m. This is going to be recorded. I had an estate planner on here, had finance on here. We did business. We did grants. We're going to dive deeper into the money part where nonprofits can, get their nonprofit up and running. We have the government funding out there we're going to dive into. We're going to have the business side we're going to dive into. So it's going to be a couple different things we're diving into. And those that's in I would say if you 3 hours within the D.C. area, Saturday, April 8th at 10 a.m., we have a free event. It's going to be a wealth event. And did I mention that it was free? So it's free. So check this out. The location is the Southwest Neighborhood Library, 900 Fleet Place in D.C. So it's a free event. As I said, this is recorded. You can get the information. And if you want to reach out to me, because I will definitely get you to the right people, because I don't have all the answers. I stay in my lane. I know what I'm supposed to do. So I stay in my lane. My information is Charles M. Speaks. Charles, the letter M, SPEAKS at Gmail. No, do one at Yahoo, because I have too many. But do the one at Yahoo. Charles M. Speaks at yahoo.com. And that's CHARLES, the letter M, SPEAKS at Yahoo. I'm on social media. You can find me everywhere on social media. Inbox me. Hit me up. We can make some moves. What we're doing is we're bringing people together. That's the goal. Bringing people together and putting out quality information, because I know, just like y'all know, we see a lot of people out there that's giving the wrong information. And I see it bigger on the real estate side of things. So I'm a real estate investor doing deals. It doesn't matter what the deal is. As long as there's a profit and we can help people out, that's how it works. So we're doing a lot of great things out here, making some things happen. So what I'm doing as well, if you have somebody that has a niche, reach out to me. Reach out to me. I want to get them, in a sense, some exposure. And this is just information. It's exposure for anybody who wants it to get on the platform and help the people. But I'm going to vet the people. You better believe that. Whoever I bring on here, to me, they're solid. So I'm bringing people on here that's solid, that I know that gets the job done. Without further ado, Miss Kimmy Robinson, Elation Magazine. She actually got me on here. She said, Charles, she got me on one of her calls. She said, do you want to do a segment, every Monday? I was like, wow, yeah, I'd love to do that. So for me, I have knowledge in the real estate world, the nonprofit world. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a best-selling author. I'm out here to get it like all of us, y'all. We have so many people that can help us out, but we need to collaborate more and not try to hoard the information. It's not about hoarding the information. It's putting together a team of folks that can get it done, and that's what we're doing. So I'm reaching out to everybody that want to be featured, that's quality, that's they can put some great information out. So Miss Kimmy Robinson, I want to say thank you, Miss. I know you have Elation Radio, Elation Magazine. You are doing big things, and she's out in the St. Louis, Missouri area. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pray us out. So everybody, if you're driving, please keep your eyes open. So, Father God, thank you for allowing me to bless the people. Thank you for allowing those that got on the call and for those who couldn't make it to receive the information. We honor you, and we know everything begins and ends with you. Be those who are going through the struggle and continue to bless the many. In your name we pray. Amen. This is Charles's Corner. This is Charles McCutcheon. Stay blessed, stay up, and we're going to do this again next week. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shout out D on the track, Paint Music Media. Shout out DJ Lee Productions, and I'm Al Ken. But if you a game changer, got my head, my grind on high, win, lose, and drought. I'ma ride till I die. I go hard in that lane. My God is the aim. Put me in, coach, and watch me change the game. Cause I'm a game changer. 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 I'm full court press. I pledge allegiance to the best. Ain't nothing left to give it that reverence that the Father gets. So every day I work the sweat, can get a flesh another rest. They say go hard or go home. I say just do whatever's best. It's evident I'm blessed and I work like it. Fight like a Viking. Fight like a lichen. The difference is I like it, so I shine like I'm lightning. So I'm going head to head with certain depth. Who you liking? Yeah. So it's time for coach to put me in. I'm strapping on my shoulder pads, lacing up my cleats, and then I'm gone with the wind. Like I'm gone in 60 seconds. You can't hold me, you can't check me. Check the memo, check the message running through. Like I'm baddest, I'm trucking whoever standing in my way. Ain't no way you gon' stop me. You better off to let me in. Cause I go hard, even though they say no way that I could win. Like I'm Brett Ford, I'ma ride this way. My head to the sky, my grind on high. Win, lose, and drought. I'ma ride till I die. I go hard in that lane. My God is the aim. Put me in, coach, and watch me change the game. Cause I'm a game changer. 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 Yeah, I told you once before, my God came to change the game. Different outlook on to life, a different way to play the lane. Now my rushing yours is skyrocketing. Now I'm so insane. For the kingdom building, now my shot it cannot be contained. So I'm gon' pray for change for myself and then what I can. I don't need no euros or no pesos or no money grams. Shout out to Wado, cause I know that he gon' play this fam. The FCA Sports Camp, game changer, summer jam. I don't need 100 grand to tell them that they need the lamb. It's heaven, it's just who I am. Al Kim, this where I stand. Man, I'm gon' play the fist. It's so deep to turn it quick. It's like I'm out from the trap to turn around, get back in it. Never that's not insane. It's evident your book they chain. Like I'm Jack Johnson. The same year he changed his name. So I sacrificed my life for the cause, just to win. And if you a game changer, let me see you represent. My grind on high. Win, lose, and drought. I'ma ride till I die. I go hard in that lane. My God is the aim. Put me in, coach, and watch me change the game. Cause I'm a game changer. 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 Now put me in, coach. 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 I'ma go hard.
I'ma go hard. I'ma go hard. I'ma go hard.
Cause I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.